Right, welcome back to episode 8 of the Golf Strong podcast. I'm here with my colleague Keith Egan. We're going to discuss how we both got on at the Irish Amateur Open last week in County Sligo, preparations for the next events. You playing Castleknock Scratch Cup?
No.
I've Douglas Scratch Cup this weekend. So how did the Irish Am go for you?
Mixed, very mixed, but overall pretty good experience. Like I think it's hard to say when you get that weather that it's a bad experience around there.
Yeah.
Golf-wise, a little bit mixed. Some very good, and then some very sloppy and not so good stuff.
How did you feel going back there after obviously winning the West? You're the only guy who was probably had a different feeling to everybody else.
Yeah, I suppose actually very weird because like it's I suppose it's impossible not having like high expectations when you're standing on the first tee, because I didn't really, apart from maybe my finish in the first round, I didn't really have a bad experience around there. So you're standing up with like nothing but good experience. So then like if you don't hit good shots, you're kind of comparing yourself to a few weeks ago. So that's what was weird. And I thought the course was playing, because they switched the tees up a little, the course played a little bit different. So overall weird experience, but good. Like it's impossible not to be. I was trying to enjoy it, but also stay focused in playing the tournament. So I thought I managed that quite well, but then maybe my expectations were a little bit too high, which is, I think, somewhat understandable.
Yeah, completely. Thought the course played. I'm going up there years. Like I'm actually only starting to figure the place out now, even though I missed the cut. And I'll cover that. But there is a way to play it, like, isn't there? There really is. Like, I mean, holes.
So what have you learned in terms of like how you play it, or what's the tactic?
To back off it a little bit, off the tee.
Yeah.
I always try to bully that course.
And you can't.
No. Even like the second, I hit driver up there for years. I've never hit it out of bounds. I've never hit it in trouble, but I've never really taken advantage of that hole. And I said this year, I was like, do you know what? I put a rescue in instead of a 2-iron. I just popped it up there, like middle of the two bunkers. I think I had 99 actually a couple of rounds. But that type, and do you know when you get up to the ball and you kind of realise, geez, I've been playing this hole wrong for forever.
Totally.
So,
because it's actually an approach player's golf course, like a mid-iron player's golf course.
Yeah.
Let's say usually in the East, maybe I think for the Irish Am it was more, the way they moved the tees, it became, you could actually maybe hit driver a little bit more and get a little bit further down. So it turned into more of like a short iron player's golf course. Like I think the 2nd, the 6th, the 7th, and even the 8th, it's more about your approach than anything. You're kind of placing it off the tee and then approach.
Yeah.
And they're huge. They're 3 or 4 huge holes in the whole tournament.
They are, yeah. Particularly 6, 7, and 8. Like 6, I was hitting 3-iron off 6. Perfect. It covers the first bunker and it's short to the second bunker.
That also gives you a bailout.
It does, yeah. There's actually loads of room on the right there, so it takes pressure off anything really. I was hitting rescue up 7, played the hole well, and I was hitting driver up 8. I didn't hit great drives, but I only played 3 rounds, but I parred the hole 4 times, maybe birdied it one day. But like, I suppose I was happy that I had figured those out, you know what I mean? 12 is another one. I always play that hole wrong, and this year I was just hitting rescue over that front bunker, that first bunker. And perfect. If you hit it really well, you're down there, and if you don't, you're kind of grand still. But you can hit a bullet 3-iron in there and run it up the green.
100, because like the distance there kind of misleads you. Like you could have 270 in there, but if you can get the right flight, you can still get there for your second. I think it's easy to chase it too much off the tee. Whereas what I tried to think, I tried to play like a dry 3-wood, but I know my miss is going to be a high cut out to the right, and it's not going to go far enough to get in trouble. But if I hit a good 3-wood and it comes out a little knuckly, I'm going to have a mid-iron in. And so like I think if you just show that whole bit of respect, where it's easy to think that you have to get the tee shot away, because when you have like 240 in, you think that you're like you think that you need you think you need to press on the tee shot too much, rather than just like having a 2-iron in there is actually not that hard a shot, because you can chase it up onto the green or in and around the green.
Yeah, and the other one then is 17, and I suppose the cardinal error I made, I was going along, shot 4 over in the first round, very dopey, and then shot 2 under in the second round in breeze, like, and I was happy with that. I played really nicely in that round. And then the third round, I was trying to shoot a number again. I was like 3 over playing 17, and I hit a really good tee shot, but it was up the left side of the fairway. Like right rough is actually fine there.
That's the shot.
I'm never there. I'm always either on the fairway or to the left, and ball below it. So the ball kicks left into that hill, and ball below my feet, and I was actually just trying to wedge it back into position and kind of fell back, and the ball probably went 180 yards. Like I just got one of these absolute flyers. And gone, dropped the next one, up right at the green, walking up to the green. This fella just comes out of nowhere. Horrible lie. And just walks off again into the dunes. And I was like, all right.
Class.
Yeah, so I was actually considering, and this the green is right there, I was just considering an unplayable, but again, you're back to your mindset, you're kind of going, why would I take an unplayable and play my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th shot? You're just never going to do that.
Yeah, and you're also dropping it in cabbage further back.
In cabbage, and so I hit it, and the ball shot up and went back down into the lie again, chopped it back on the green, made 8, right? This is the first time then I actually checked the scores. I was like, fuck it, I'm actually 1 shot outside the cut line all of a sudden, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm actually okay with my golf at the moment, it's getting there, and I was like, oh fuck it, I didn't need that blip now, because I could have really done with the 4th round, you know?
Yeah.
But I needed to make birdie on the last, and I parred the last, missed the cut by a shot. So you're kind of going, right, you made a quadruple bogey on your 53rd out of 54 hole to miss the cut by a shot. It's not great, but it was just actually quite annoying because I really needed that last round. But
do you find around that golf course you don't need a lot to go to shoot a high-ish score, because it's not a course where you're going to make loads of birdies. So you need to kind of minimize your mistakes. I know, apart from Liam knowing the first few rounds,
10 birdies,
but you're not going to make it's not a course where you're going to bully and make a load of birdies. So you need to kind of be placing off the tee, and then it just takes a couple bad mistakes to rack up a number. Yeah, that's what makes that course very, very tricky.
I think it's crucial, and it's something I just haven't really. I did it in the second round, and I shot 2 under. When you get under par early, you can really build, and you can almost protect, and then maybe push again, and then protect. And then you have your number. But I think when you're not making birdies in the first 5, if you're over par through 5, you're
really behind
under pressure, big time. So that's the Irish Am, I suppose. It's I suppose on a personal note, in fairness, I was delighted for Matt. He deserved a win of all the players. Obviously disappointing for Liam, but he deserves a win. He's been, in my head, probably the best player for quite a while in terms of his consistency. What is next for you? What's your...
I'll play the East. The East is next, and then I think the amateurs then after that.
Yeah.
So, I suppose it's...
Similar kind of golf course, in a way. No, you can bully that one a bit.
I think the difference between the Baltray and Ross's is more about, it's almost like a bit of a tug of war in terms of you're battling with the golf course all the time, and it's more about a mid-iron player's golf course. But Baltray is all about driving. If you drive it well there, you can absolutely rip it apart. I think. Yeah. I think there's a lot of players who've done that over the years, where when they drive it really well, like Keelan Rafferty. Obviously, Alex Maguire was very good there the last few years, but those types of drivers at a golf ball can really take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's the difference between there and Ross's. Ross's, it's more about game plan, plotting your way around, trying to take advantage when you can. But I think Baltray is more so about really, really honing in off the tee and getting your driver very good.
Yeah.
Because you shot a very good score there, 4th round last year.
The last round. Funny, again, that golf course, when I think of that course, it's I think it's right up my street. And it was funny, one of the young lads from Douglas played in the East years ago, or maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, Mel Deasy. So he missed the cut, but he caddied for me for the last round. And I was he was hitting irons everywhere, and he's a really good driver of the ball. And I said, right, I'm going to hit driver off every hole today, because I wasn't in position to win. And I said, let's just see, right? Mm-hmm. So I shoot 4 under par, hit driver off every hole, holes 8, holes 9, 12.
Wow, 8's a mad one.
Just burst it down there,
yeah.
and I just somehow threaded it down there. And but again, back to the argument, what would someone like Dustin Johnson do there? Probably hit driver, you know what I mean? Maybe.
Yeah.
holes like 12, if you sent a drone up there, you'd see
the widest part of the fairway is actually
further down,
260 yards off the
So then
tee.
you're battling just against a visual, you know what I mean?
Like I see there's guys like Raf hits driver there always on 12. I suppose that's a lot about knowing the golf course as well. Like I'm sure a lot of lads like Jordan probably hits driver there all the time.
Yeah.
So there's a great argument for it if you can get the line off the tee, because if you hit driver, there's a lot more room left than you think.
Yeah, there is. It is wide open. Like the 13, 14, like
14 you hit driver.
I did in that round. I won't this year. Like, you know what I mean? Because again, like you could knock it up around the green and roll off the green and have one of these chips that you're just kind of going, fuck's sake, I prefer a 60-yard pitch.
Yeah, it's like what do you, because it is a hard wedge shot, especially if it's firm. Like it's a really hard 60, 70-yard shot. So like where do you take the risk? Is it like with your pitch shot, or is it with your tee shot?
Yeah, it depends, I suppose. It depends how it's running. I'd imagine it'll be
and
lovely.
how you feel.
Yeah. So yeah, same for me. I've the Scratch Cup in Douglas this weekend, and then up to the East, which I'm looking forward to, and the Amateur. I think everyone in the back of their mind is probably trying to prime for that week, you know what I mean? And then you kind of get into it a bit more and you think, right, if I just play well for 2 rounds, you're into match play for the biggest prize in amateur golf. Sure, anyone really can win at that point. Like, it's just about knocking fellas down and kind of going from there. I presume it's the Glashidi will be where the match play is on, I'm assuming. No, it mightn't, because we played Home Internationals on the old course a couple of years ago, which is another fine course, like, you know, really, really good golf course. So it'll be interesting to see how they play, how they set that up.
It's an interesting 10 days, isn't it? Or like 2 weeks for amateur golf, because you'll have, in the same week, you'll have Ulster Stroke Play and the East, 2 polar opposite golf courses in Clannyboy and Baltray, and then going to Ballyliffin a week and a half later. So like there's huge, and then you have a bit of a gap for 3 weeks then, isn't it? Or there might be Connacht Stroke Play then after that. Yeah. And then the next tournament after that is the South. Yeah. Which is like late July.
Late July, yeah.
So like if you can peak in those couple of weeks, you could have an unbelievable couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's still there. I suppose, which brings us to this week, to the PGA. So fancies for that, like, I suppose we could probably say an outsider. And again, you look at social media, like every swing Tiger puts up, it's like, oh, amazing. I saw him hitting chip shots last night. It looks amazing. Is there another winning him? Probably physically out of his capabilities at this stage. Just I don't even like the way he's walking. Like
the few videos I saw him, I thought it's the first time that I've seen him. He looks old. Yeah. He looks compromised. Like even when he had all the back surgeries and the knee surgeries, I thought physically he still looked like a specimen, and he still looked better than everyone. Yeah. In terms of how he's able to pivot and how he's able to use his lower body, but now he looks, even his shoulder rotation looks compromised. And
he doesn't look fast at all. His speed looks very poor.
Even though numbers wise he's still fast enough, but that's just because he's Tiger Woods. He's hard to actually measure. But I don't think even the way he's communicating with everyone, he looks like everyone's pal. And I think when he feels like he has a chance to win, he's not like that.
No.
So
and then the upper end things, and the common discussion point is Rory and whatever's going on in his life, which is his own business. But I suppose he's won with Shane. He wins last week. All I'm really seeing is I remember the streak he had. We were chatting about this, the Open, Firestone, and the PGA streak, where he was just an incredibly good driver to golf. And when he's like that, I remember in Hoylake he was just was taking that course apart. It looked like a bit of that last week again.
Yeah, I think the one thing that you think of Rory when he's playing well is that it looks like he has more freedom than any athlete that has ever performed at their best. He looks like he's in a zone where he's just as free as you could possibly be on an elite stage, and that's what when I watched them at the Wells Fargo, that's what it looked like on the back nine. He just looked so assured of himself and so free in what he was doing. So I think if he takes it to that golf course that seems to be like it's going to be playing extremely long and a little bit soft, that's just prime conditions for Rory. That's what it was when he won there in 2014.
Yeah.
It feels like that limits the field in terms of who can win. It seems to it goes to Rory,
30
Brooks,
or 40 guys
yeah,
max.
if even, yeah. There's maybe, I'd say you go to to the top 10, 15 guys in strokes gained off the tee, and then it limits it to that. Because otherwise you go to the slightly, let's say even someone like a Ricky Fowler that probably just can't compete because he's hitting too long a club into the greens. So and watch Ricky Fowler win now, that'll be hilarious. But I just think it limits it to those guys, and then you have, it seems like all the guys that are in the upper tier of like strokes gained off the tee are actually the ones that are performing well at the moment as well. So like Rory, Scheffler, Koepka, Rahm, not so much, but he's a fiery character, so he can perform well. And then DeChambeau as well is another one that I think will perform well.
Yeah.
So who's your pick for the week?
I just keep coming back to that straight. Like when I watched a bit of the golf there at the weekend, and I just saw Rory hitting his drives the way he was hitting them, and again back to what you were saying about the freedom, which is totally, I see him then as the complete best player, like, you know.
Yeah.
Added to the fact that maybe this stuff in his personal life is a weight off his back. If that's the case, sure, who knows? He could go on a streak and be the player that we probably all think he is.
And that probably leads into the freedom part, doesn't it?
Totally. So,
because golf is a weird thing. It's like it's the ultimate lie detector. So like if there's things that, and this is why Scotty's so impressive, Scotty Scheffler, is that he's able to create such a balance in his whole life that falls over into his golf. Like he always talks about golf not being the number one priority in his life. Like his wife, now his child, and his religion are all the most important things in his life, and then the golf. So if those things are performing very well, then his golf is very good. Rory seems like, now maybe accidentally, that the rest of his life he's got developed a little bit more freedom because of maybe the news, I don't know, but that's what it looked like last Sunday. So it might be just perfect timing for him. And I suppose we do have a little bit of proof of what happened in 2014. He was like that. Was it 2014 when the last situation happened?
We'll have to fact check that, but I think it was. Yeah.
So
he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Now I want to ask you one more question for, like, let's say, just to backtrack on Irish Am. So let's say, I like from all the, let's say the posts you put up about working on your swing and being very open about parts of your game that you're working on going into Cork and Irish Am, because that was a lot of golf in 7 days. I felt like it was a lot of golf. I don't know if I'm a fan of 72 holes in 2 days. Sometimes I am if you're working on things, because it gives you a great chance to actually get some good feedback. But in terms of like a tournament and competing, it can be tough, and then having going from so polar opposite courses in a week, it's very strange. But how did you find your game going into Cork compared to Irish Am? Because I played 4 rounds with you in Cork, and you could see the development, and you could see the difference in sometimes when you're hitting good shots, and then when you're struggling, you can see that you're working on things.
I suppose what I took from Cork was my good in Cork was really good, and the bad was very poor. But you know, I kind of put that down to more, I suppose some of it was decisions. You have to rate yourself on a mental performance. Attitude was okay in Cork. Attitude was excellent in Irish Am. So I went to the Irish Amateur again. I hit balls after Cork, and I was like, no, like it's still, I just don't like the way my club tracks from my backswing to my downswing. And then kind of made a decision when I went to Sligo, and I did some really good work up there to really shorten it and try and create the speed in the middle and shorten it here as well. Which really kind of worked. You know, I did kind of injure my neck a little bit. I had to get physio the morning of the first round, but that's all part of it. So I was kind of really short in the first round, but the second round, I had loads of control. And when I play my best, I just have loads of control, and then I totally free up and I totally calm down, and I just play, you know.
So you're looking to get into a zone of freedom, and that's through getting technical comfort.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's your absolute happy place.
That's my zone, and I've had it in the past, and I haven't had it in a while. I've had glimpses of it, even last year in Lahinch. Like I had it for, like, if that was a stroke play event, I felt I probably would have won by 10.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? If that was a 4-round stroke play event, because my numbers were really good in some good and some really poor weather. But what I did have there was control. I just ran out of control in, let's say, round 8, 9, or whatever round it is into the final.
Yeah, it could be 50 for all you know. It feels like a minute.
You just can't put a number on it. Which again, when I kind of analyse that, you have to some way say, right, there's a lot of positives there. What does your measure of success look like? And then I suppose, how are you trying to time it? I always kind of tell myself, if I just say I won the amateur, I look back at these few months and go, they needed to happen. Like, you know, Cork needed to happen. I needed to shoot 500 in first round and then brain it. The Irish amateur needed to happen. Like, I needed to get that second round under my belt and then brain it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Or not, but that's the way I kind of think. So, like,
there's always a reason. Like, especially in golf, like it is like how you perform is a good reflection onto the bigger situation in your life and in your golf game.
It is.
So everything kind of feeds into when you're playing well. So, like, that's your good and your bad experiences previously, building technical issues that you had. It is a build up to when you're actually playing well.
Yeah, it is. And I think I suppose, you know, I'm around long enough now to know that the process that you kind of carve out for yourself to get something that you want, like your process to win the West, like stuff I've done in the past to win certain events, and I just keep telling myself that my best stuff, like, I'm 42, so the thoughts do creep into your head that say statistically one peaks at a certain age. You're kind of saying, well, have I got my best stuff already behind me? I can't really accept that. I still think my best stuff is not behind me, so that's why I kind of persevere, you know what I mean? So there's no part of me kind of is like, oh, I'm done, or this is a disaster. It's like, right, I take it on the chin, make 8 and 17, it's like, whatever. Still had a great drive down 18, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of okay wedge, but came off it going, right, there's enough there, I suppose, banked that, you know, Douglas, like, people say, it's only the Douglas scratch up. I'm like, no way, like, that's another exam now for me, like, and I'm going to see, can I do it on my home course, whatever, just can I hit ball from
point A. Which is equally as difficult. Like, when you have comfort, and this is partially what I felt going back to the West, is that sometimes it is hard, and a lot of people talk about this playing tournaments in their home course. It is very, very difficult when you have expectation. That's one of the hardest things to deal with in golf. So, like, when you go back to your home course, it's a separate type of exam and separate type of hurdle.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's just up to me, and I will do it. Like, it just to, you know, treat it as point A to point B and try and stick with what I'm doing to build up. You see, this is all, you know this, like, it's all about, it's like going into an exam. Have I got enough study done to just bang out the answers? Like, and you said it, like, it is a total, you know, lie detector test. If you don't have the work done, you're just...
You realise in the tournament, like, okay,
until you play with someone that has...
I shouldn't have crammed. I needed to have a more structured process, and I needed to plan this out a little bit better. And you realise that when you're in the tournament. That's what's mad about it.
It is, yeah.
You find out while you're playing.
It is, yeah.
Sometimes you realise,
don't have it. Sure,
Yeah.
when I was playing with you, it's amazing how quickly things change. That shank I hit off the 9th, I was in, I came out at, was that round 3? Anyway, I came out one round like a train, and 3 under through 4, beautiful.
Third round.
Yeah, like a train. I was like, perfect. I thought I was going to shoot 64, like. And then shank a 5-iron off the 9th, and it's like a bubble just goes poof.
Yeah.
Or I refer to it as like the gunshot in the Hunger Games, like poof.
Yeah.
Peter's dead, like, you know.
Yeah. Well, you go from having ultimate control to all
no
of a
control,
sudden being a little bit lost.
To no control, and it's so disheartening because it's the same fault that I know instantly what's going on there. It's like I have a camera on myself, like, you know, and I'm like, right. So look, there's that. So yeah, I'm very positive. No results to show, but, like, again, it's all part of it, so we'll see how we get on.
Yeah, great.